Good morning. I want to thank those of you who have joined us today for this press conference. I'm especially pleased to have with us the chair of the Board of Supervisors in Los Angeles County, Hilda Solis, and someone who has been a champion on some of these issues for our children and our youth, and I'm pleased to have her with us. We're going to be talking about a settlement which the California Department of Justice has reached with the County of Los Angeles, and more specifically, it's agencies that deal with our youth who are being provided services by the county. And so it's an important day today because the announcement moves us a little farther in saying that we're going to provide not just justice for our youth who may have found themselves in need of some support, but also providing them with an opportunity to have a brighter future. And that's why this is important. I want to acknowledge some of the people from my department who helped make this day possible. Let me mention that Virginia Corrigan, Deputy Attorney General in this office, and Laura Fair, Deputy Attorney General from the office as well, will be available to answer any questions if you get into some specifics about the settlement, the complaint, and some of the investigative work that was done. I also want to acknowledge Dominique Alcaraz, other Deputy Attorney General, Lee Sherman, DAG as well, Sarah Belton, Supervising Deputy Attorney General, and Michael Newman, Senior Assistant Attorney General, all of whom were active in this case. It's important to remember that nothing happens unless you have the cooperation of a lot of folks. And I know Supervisor Solis will mention some of the folks in the county who made this possible. I certainly do want to acknowledge LA County Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Deborah Duardo, who I think would have participated, but unfortunately is right now, I hope, healing from COVID-19. And so we're hoping the best for her and thank her for the work that she has been doing with the county itself, working with our youth. Let me begin by reciting a quote that a great American from the 19th century mentioned, which I think is as applicable then as it is now, or I should say as applicable now as it was then, and that is that it is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. Those were his words back then. I think we know that sometimes some of our kids begin to venture in the wrong direction, and they are then brought into the government system to try to provide them with support and help them habilitate. Before we get them to the age of 18 and they become adults, we want to do what we can for them. And while it is always better to build strong children, sometimes we have a job to do to repair those who had some difficulties in life. And that's why today's announcement is so important, because we have hope for all of our kids. And we want them to believe in themselves and that they can trust that we believe in them. And so this agreement that we're here to discuss, this settlement, deals with our youth and juvenile detention at the County of Los Angeles. And it deals with an investigation that we conducted into this area to figure out if indeed the kids, the youth in LA County who were in youth detention, were receiving the services they need. Our investigators conducted multiple site visits into LA County's facilities. We interviewed more than 80 witnesses, and we reviewed thousands of pages of documents. And in the end, we found that the County of Los Angeles had provided insufficient services to its youth and failed to protect some from risks to their physical safety, including through the use of excessive force by facility staff. We reviewed multiple substantiated instances of misuse of force or abusive institutional practices involving the use of pepper spray in situations where there appeared to be no actual or potential threat of harm. Additionally, we found that the county placed youth in room confinement for lengthy periods of time and denied some youth in room confinement access to education and programming. At times, the county deprived youth of their basic needs and failed to provide required things like outside exercise, education, programming, religious services, and adequate and timely medical and mental health care. Finally, we found that LA County failed to provide an adequate grievance system, including sufficient protections against retaliation for filing a grievance. Those are all difficult things to say. I think we all understand that we don't condone that kind of activity. We want our youth to know that we believe in them, as I said before. But this 2-year investigation was for the purpose of getting us to move in the right direction. And today's announcement is exactly about that. And that's why I thank the people from the Department of Justice, but more importantly, I thank the people from the County of Los Angeles, starting, of course, with the chair of the Board of Supervisors, Hilda Solis, and all the people that work in the youth detention services at the County of Los Angeles for moving in this direction. We are beginning a new chapter here for youth detention services in LA County, and I think that's a very good thing. Let me get into a few of the things that the settlement will provide, because I think that's important to know. And I'm proud to say that this is something that came about because of the real work cooperation that we saw in the County of Los Angeles trying to move in this direction. As part of the settlement, county authorities have agreed to take a wide range of corrective action aimed at securing positive outcomes for youth in juvenile detention, promoting public safety, and ensuring systemic improvements to the county's juvenile halls. The Department of Justice and county authorities have worked cooperatively, and we have established an extensive 4-year plan that ensures that our youth are not housed in prison-like conditions in accordance with our California laws that limit the use of force, as well as requiring de-escalation and outside oversight and review of incidents. Ensure and document that youth have access to legally required programs such as recreation, exercise, religious services, visitation, and phone calls. Some things that some of us might just take for granted and not even think about. As well, eliminate improper denial of education time, improve the process for transitioning youth back to school in the community, provide compensatory education services to youth denied education while in juvenile halls, and strengthen responses to misbehavior through trauma-informed and positive behavioral approaches. These are just a handful of the corrective actions that our department and the County of Los Angeles have developed to address some of our investigation's findings. I want to, especially as I said, tip my hat to Supervisor Solis, to Chief Probation Officer Leyva, who was not with us, but I want to acknowledge him, and as I said, Superintendent Eduardo, for their cooperation and their work in making this settlement a reality. It is important to know that we have a partner here working to move forward, and I believe that LA County has proven itself that it is ready to be that good partner. And I'm hopeful that this settlement can serve as a model for the types of immediate reforms that can be made here in California and across the country for our youth. Finally, I want to encourage anyone with information regarding suspected practices in violation of state or federal law involving our youth to report them to the California Department of Justice's Bureau of Children's Justice. Let me give you the website. That's bcj.doj.ca.gov. One last time, bcj@doj.ca.gov. As today's announcement demonstrates, we take protecting our kids very seriously. So if you know something, say something. If you know someone who needs help, say something. We want to be there. With that, I'd like to now turn over the microphone to our Chair of the Board of Supervisors, Supervisor Hilda Solis.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and good morning to everyone. And I really want to acknowledge the hard work that you have put forward in your leadership, Attorney General Javier Becerra, a former colleague of mine when we served in the Congress. And I'm delighted to be here to join you. And it's a hard day for us. It's a hard day, but it's also a good day. And I see the light at the end of the tunnel because we're talking about juvenile justice, which for all intent and purposes is a human right. The young people who experience the juvenile justice system deserve everything possible, all the tools necessary to succeed. And that means holistic, thoughtful engagement by those who are responsible for serving them. So we want to allow them to thrive into adulthood, as you say, and with the support provided by our community. And our duty, as I see it, is to ensure that we're setting them up for success when they return back to their neighborhoods and to their families. And as you recently said, Attorney General Javier Becerra, today we're announcing, in my opinion, a groundbreaking settlement that opens up a whole new chapter for Los Angeles County's commitment to serving our young people who are in our care and who make up the bulk of our disadvantaged youth and communities of color. I would say to you, half of the population that we serve are African American and Latino. And that for me is a personal commitment to strive for a better and just system for them. This settlement is another important element in my mind in the extensive juvenile justice reforms that have been coming our way here at the county that we started, and it's putting care first instead of jail. So jail last, care first. That's our motto now. And I know that we couldn't have done this without the cooperation of your office. And the settlement documents, I think, will be incredibly clear in helping us really protect our young people, our staff, and moving forward. Los Angeles County fully cooperated, as you know, with your Attorney General's office to achieve the settlement agreements. And it's our collective goal to continue to make improvements there. The settlement is a positive outcome that will make a meaningful difference to young people and their families, because I also believe that we have to connect with families. Otherwise, the system remains in the same status quo that it is. So I want to thank you for your leadership and your partnership. In our Board of Supervisors, as you know, it's a newly comprised board made up of mostly all women now, and all of us come with our challenges and our talents and skills and wanting to really put children first and our young people. So this is a really unique moment in time for us. And just something to note, the Attorney General's investigation relied on much of our county's own commission reports that we had already started on. The board motions that we put forward, findings by the County Office of the Inspector General, the OIG that we created recently. The settlement builds upon the work that LA County is doing to reform and reshape juvenile justice and creating a more holistic approach to care. And our board's mission, as I said earlier, is care first, jail last. And already we've seen a decrease in our population with our incarcerated youth. We currently have less than 300 youth in our juvenile halls and approximately 150 youth in the camps compared to March 2020 when we had almost 500 in our halls and almost 300 in our camps. If we look at our populations a decade ago, we had 3,000 youth in our detention facilities. So we've really undergone already some major changes and restructuring, but more has to be done. And we are also moving to eliminate the use of pepper spray, something that is so very vital in our institutions. We've got to get rid of it. And we've enhanced our oversight of our probation department with the new Civilian Oversight Commission and an executive director who will have investigatory authorities to work with our Office of Inspector General. And also, we recently hired, in the last 2 weeks, a new probation chief who I know many people will come to welcome because he's already performed outstanding reforms in San Diego. His name is Adolfo Gonzalez. So we're really looking forward to working with him and bringing him on board. Just in conclusion, there's so much more to do, but we are indeed, Attorney General Becerra, re-envisioning our justice system overall, and we want to work in partnership with you and the state of California to continue to reduce that footprint and provide care first education, achievement, tools for training and success, and bringing our children home back to their communities. So with that, I thank you very much for allowing me the opportunity to join you.